right, what's up? Tim Sykes here. Wanted to do a video while one of these supernovas is going. I should have started this a few minutes ago, but today's just a crazy day. Just had literally 20 students leave here in Italy. We did an inner circle, so I'm just catching my breath. LCFY, I mean, this is just since 8:40 in the morning, and this is 10 a.m. Eastern. So a little over an hour, and this thing went from the 2s all the way up to the 14s, now fading to the 10s. It's supernova season. I have a whole guide on supernovas, a brand new guide that I'll link below. You should watch it, but you gotta learn to lean into these plays. I know it's scary. I know it's not like comfortable, but you can take small positions. You can paper trade. This is what I'm always saying with my students in the beginning. Take small positions, buy 100 shares, buy 10 shares, buy 1 share, paper trade. Just get used to the volatility and get on the right side of these things. This was yesterday, CYN, just awesome run up here from the 4s all the way to the 40s. And this was, mind you, this was 7:20 in the morning. This was 11:30. So literally 10 times your money in 4 hours. I don't know why I can't see 4. I guess my little head is like faded over here. But this is the upside. Then they did some offerings. They've actually done several offerings, which is just crazy. So I want to go over, these supernovas, how to find them, how to spot them, how to capitalize. I do have to congratulate a few students just this morning, and I know there's more of you. I can't keep up. Hey Chick Malik, nice job, 6,200 on the morning on CYN. ML Roach also just made $1 a share on LCFY. Don't feel bad. I know some people, when you trade these, ML Roach was selling in the 5s and it went to the 14s. Don't feel bad. You made 20%. The key is trying to be involved in these things early, like wake up early if you can. And then trying to ride it and trying to take a piece of the move. If you sell too early, guess what? The next one, you be a little more aggressive. If you miss it entirely, wake up a little earlier. Every single play, you can get a little better. And that's why I suggest you watch my Supernova guide. I'll link it below. I have 25 years of experience with these supernovas, and I don't time them perfectly anywhere near close. Like literally, I piked it yesterday on CYN. This morning, I just missed LCFY doing too much. The market doesn't care about your personal schedule. The market doesn't care about your issues. I mean, this was actually a funny trade for me because I bought it in the 9s. I'm trying to film. I have several millionaire students here, 2 students, Stratty and Omer, on the verge of crossing $1 million. So I wanted to film them before they hit $1 million just to get their mindset. Then we also have 2 brothers here, Evan and Chris, or I guess Evan already left. But we had 2 brothers here yesterday. One is over 4 million, one is over 2 million. So I'm filming and I'm trying to trade this thing. And, it couldn't break 10 convincingly. So I just got out and I felt, pretty bad about it since it went to 40 plus. But I pushed myself to rebuy it. And I'm actually really happy with this. Again, even though you can say I piked it, just made like, $1.50, $1.60 a share or $1.70 a share. I don't care, okay? Like you guys can't expect perfection. Just try your best. Obviously, if you have a busy schedule, if you're filming like I am, if you're moving, if you're at work, if you're, with your kids, I mean, there's so many different things that goes on. But just try to recognize these supernovas are popping up again and again. Yesterday, CYN, I see some people saying, like, how do you find these things? I mean, this was yesterday, and the news was right here. Like, literally, next generation robotics. And this is a thing I actually regret not being more aggressive here. They were featured in NVIDIA's recent blog posts. There was a short seller in the chat room, Stefan was like, they're not really working together. And, again, what are they actually doing together? It doesn't matter. It's a legitimizer for a small company to even be working with NVIDIA. And they link the blog posts in which they're highlighted. So NVIDIA highlights all of their partners. It's not like this is a complete fraud. It's not like they're not doing anything. Like, this is NVIDIA's website, blogs.nvidia.com. CYN is one of them. Okay, so the question is, how much are they doing together? That's a debate. You can debate how important it is, what's the value, all that stuff. What is known is that this stock spikes up on the news and it just keeps going. And it's funny to look back again, like, I think it was like right in here where it just wasn't convincingly breaking $10 a share. And you can see this. I mean, it broke $10 a share here at 7:20 a.m. It wasn't until like really 7:40 a.m. This is a lot of time for me, 20 minutes when I'm doing something else. And part of the reason was, some of the students had to leave. So, and they're like going to the beach. So I'm trying to just fit in my filming. I was a little late. I missed the initial spike here in the eights, but I'm glad that I bought it and alerted in the nines. I'm not going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to sell too early. You're going to miss. The good news is this market provides, and that's what I want you to understand. And you're just trying to see, okay, how far can these things go? You can see here, it hits the 11s, and then this is at 7:44 a.m. This is at 8:20 a.m. This is literally 40 minutes of nothing. And it's scary to buy a stock that's up so much. Yes, though, it is holding near its highs. And that's the key. So I'm not just saying buy any play. There's a lot of plays that are scary. They spike up big. They drop big. It's tough to hodl. It's tough to have faith. But this one is holding near its highs and it's going. And I literally had to push myself. Where was it? Right in here in the 17s to buy it. Because it's tough when you sell too early, like you don't want to admit that you're wrong. I was way too early on my sell. And right here, I see it like coiling again. And I'm just like, wow, some shorts are really, stuck here. Like if you see my tweets, where was my tweet here? On LCFY this morning, I said, thank you, over aggressive shorts. Like I say this jokingly. And I say like, thank you for your sacrifice, etc. But like at the same time, there are so many shorts. It's gotten pretty crazy. You have to remember, I made million shorting. I have several millionaire students who are making million shorting. Literally just today, Chris Trunk is in the other room right here. He's literally right next to me. And, we just crossed 4 million this month. And, we did a boat ride. He's been going out to dinner. We had a cool vineyard visit. He didn't have Wi-Fi one day and he's taking size and he lost 280,000. But the day before he made like 200,000. But look at his profit charts. Like this is literally all since January 2024. And you can see his profit chart. Like this is literally, he's under 1 million and now he's over 4 million. So don't say that shorts can't make money, especially like Chris and Evan Shunk. They have it down. They've been doing this for a while. It helps that they have experience. They've been doing this for several years. If you're just starting shorting, like you have like no shot at trying to do this responsibly. And even some of the biggest shorts, this is Eternal Envy, lost 3 million yesterday. And I said, thank you for your sacrifice. We appreciate it. He was down 4 million at one point. Like there are some big shorts and they are the ones driving this. And even here, it's very scary. I want to take you like minute by minute. Like I don't know what to do here at 20. I wouldn't chase it here. Like when it starts halting and gapping down 19, gap down, halt here at 16. Like it's scary. And then even on the breakout here, it breaks 21 and it goes to 23 before coming back to 20. I don't know how to last through this. So it's not ideal, but this is right when the shorts really get squeezed. And you can see here from 11 a.m. to 11:20 a.m. And I'm getting a lot of questions like, Tim, you say just trade pre-market. Pre-market is when these runs begin. But if you go back through my video lessons, you'll notice that I say like never trade midday. Whether I was a short seller, whether I was a long trader, midday was usually dead for me. Now, because there are so many shorts who don't want to trade midday, but they're in these positions, that is the time they're most likely to get squeezed. So now I'm looking for 10 a.m., 11 a.m. spikes. And I know it's hard because some people just want like exact times to trade, exact times not to trade. But you have to understand the system as a whole. You have to understand how a short squeeze works. This is why I always say I have thousands of video lessons from when I was a short seller. People who don't short sell, they're like, I don't want to watch those. It's important. You should learn how short sellers think. I'm also watching INMB spike up right here. Look at it. It just failed at the VWAP. Some people say, Tim, you didn't used to use the VWAP. Now I do. Traders adapt. Okay? I don't like using the VWAP. It's not my preference, but because there are so many traders who use it, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You can't just memorize specific rules and specific patterns without understanding how they change a little bit over time. So this whole squeeze on CYN, this is short after short getting annihilated, some shorts bigger than others. Then they do this financing, when the stock is at 32, and this is what these scumbag companies do. They did a $15 million fundraise yesterday, at $5 a share. Okay, so it got halted for a while and reopened at 21. But even at 21, it was a decent dip buy up to 27. So like shorts are just so frustrated. Remember, they did an offering at $5 a share and the stock is at 32 because the squeeze just got crazy. Some people will say, well, how did you know when I was buying in the 9s and the 17s that it would go to 40? I didn't. There's a tweet here. Where was it? Someone said, oh, this one. Xavier said, does anyone know why Timothy Sykes Day will surely do an offering later today or tomorrow? I learned my lesson from APVO, so I didn't long into weakness on CYM. And I commented, I said experience pays. And I also, said more stuff because yes, experience does pay, but like, how did I know they were going to do an offering? I said they're probably, I think I used the word surely, but like I meant like probably they're going to do an offering. This is it. I said, LOL, it's almost as if this game were gas predictable. Not only did I buy CYN in the single digits, I posted in the 11s before it spiked to the 40s. I also called the same day offering hours before it happened. But again, I don't know how high these things are going to go. I don't know 100% if they're going to do an offering. I just know how this game works. Okay. And this is the same game. Like I linked this blog post with my 7-step framework. I'll link the 7-step framework below. It's the same basic structure. The cool thing here in Italy is we're hanging out with a lot of upcoming millionaire students, but also several millionaires, not just 7-figure students, but 8-figure traders and 9-figure traders. 9 figures, we're talking $100 million plus. And they all focus on the process and the structure of a trade. And that's why the framework is so useful. No one knows how high or how low these plays are going to go. But if you have the structure set for a short squeeze, the short squeeze right now are insane. If you have the structure for a stock that needs capital, they'll probably do an offering, and the offering is likely. And interestingly, they did the offering yesterday, 15 million. Stock fades all the way back down to the 11s. Did it get down in the single digits? No, it got down to the 11s. Then after hours, it's back to the 15s. Pre-market today, it goes back. I wish, I wish I had a better schedule right now. If you're up at 4 a.m., 16 to 24. Okay, this is a 50% move from 4 a.m. to 4:20 a.m. So you don't necessarily have to sit there all hours of the day right now. Like some of these plays, they're spiking 50, 100% inside of 15 or 20 minutes. You never know exactly which 15 or 20 minute period it's going to happen, but like 4 a.m. is a good catalyst, 7 a.m. is a good catalyst, 8 a.m. These things are good catalyst areas. And then, it starts fading. It's hugging the VWAP. Notice I'm using the VWAP here. It comes back up here to 26. And right here, they do another offering of 17 million. I could not have predicted that they were going to do 2 offerings. Now this offering is at $7.50. So mind you, yesterday they raised 15 million. Now they're raising 17 million. The first offering was at $5 a share. Now this is at $7.50 a share. It's all like so low compared to where the stock is, and the stock drops from 26 down to 19. And then this is what's interesting. Like, you have more follow-up. Like they announced the offerings and then they announced the closing of the offerings. So there were 2 offerings. Some people were confused. Some people thought that they did 2 more offerings today. It's 2 offerings, but still they're just raising money into this crazy run up because they're on NVIDIA's, website. And now here we are fading. So I'm not interested in this anymore. They could do a 3rd offering. I wouldn't put it, beyond them. Like these companies will do anything to get their money. I am also watching on the left-hand side. Sorry, I'm watching the big percent gainers. These are my big percent gainers on the left-hand side. So if you ever miss a play, the good news is there's always a new play. SVRE is spiking right now. It looks like, let's see that chart. Oh, wow. I mean, this is like literally right when I started the video lesson. I can't even make a video in peace. This thing has doubled. I wish that I was there. Let me tell the chat room. SVRE, what a squeeze. And congrats to so many other students. I know there's many of you. Jeff W. just nearly doubled his money. This is the challenge chat room. Nice job on LCFY. Kuna's mom made $1.20 a share. It's not about getting rich. It's about staying alive, working to stay diligent and getting out and not being greedy. Good. Well done. Tommy Knoxville sold some, made 700. You can go through the chat room. This is the thing too. A lot of the millionaire students that we have here, Like they didn't always make so much money, but they stayed in the challenge. They kept studying because they saw other people doing it. And they're like, if other people can do it, I can do it. And that's truly how it is. Never forget, Jack Kellogg might be over 20 million now, but his first 18 months, he was down over $10,000. He also paid several thousand for my challenge. So he's down nearly $20,000 the first 18 months while studying and learning. But he kept going. He didn't make that much, in the beginning. In fact, he was down. So like, you tell me, if you're down $10, $15, $20,000 after the first 18 months, are you going to keep going? Or are you going to be like, this sucks? I mean, real traders don't just give it like a few months or like a year or two. Like you really have to learn this stuff. And you have to see this. You have to have the pain of feeling that you missed a play. Like I have the pain of missing SVRE. I wish, that I wasn't doing the video lesson. I'd probably be in this play right now. But at the same time, I mean, I just have to teach. Like, I can't not film with the students. I mean, this is just beautiful. Look at this. This is all in a few minutes from, the 2s to the high 4s. We'll see. It's going to open in 2.5 minutes. So I'll keep this video going. We'll see how it opens. I don't like chasing it now, but you see how it was hugging the VWAP? And again, I wish I had been, watching this instead of making the video. But, you have to make choices sometimes. And the good news is, guess what? There's going to be another play in a little bit. It's play after play after play. And thanks to short sellers like this, huge short sellers, we're getting squeezes. But this is the thing, like, CYN short sellers were not wrong that CYN was going to do an offering. But this is what makes the best squeezes, okay? Because the short sellers were so, sure that CYN was going to do an offering, they were shorting too aggressively. And, there's no rule that CYN had to do the same day offering. Right? But like right before the offering is when it got the biggest squeeze. So this is the gift and the curse of these short squeezes where, yes, you're risking an offering. So it's scary to ever size up. I think it's, even without the offering risk, I think it's scary to size up a stock in the 20s or 30s after it's from the 4s. But at the same time, you want to try to ride these short squeezes. So if you can take it for $1 a share, fantastic. If you can make $5 a share, $10, $20. I mean, in this case, you could have made $35 a share if you timed it perfectly. But you're not going to try to time it perfectly. At least you shouldn't. And if you do ride it up, be happy with it. If you are going to short sell, I really warn newbies against short selling right now. I think it's very difficult. If you are going to short sell, let's say don't look to short sell. Just say, hey, I'm going to wait until it's madness. And if you do want to short, like in the 20s, 30s, 40s, this could have gone to the 50s, 60s, 70s. So you better have a bankroll. You better have like a strong stomach to suck up losses. I don't think newbies should do it. I think it's too risky for newbies to try to short sell because you just don't know where the top is. But, the stock had already started to fade when they announced the offering. It's not like the news is like, locked in a vault. I'm sure the news leaked out a little bit. Some short sellers knew, some longs, knew, and they got off the train before. Someone had to write the press release. Someone had to, submit the press release to the PR. Like it's really tough to keep these offerings secret. So not a complete surprise. It's not like they just issue the press release and they write it within 1 second. This is short squeezes, and you have the gift and the curse. LCFY, I don't know if they're going to do an offering, but it looks like it's already starting to fade. I'm going to keep watching it, but I'm also going to watch SVRE. Oh, look at this, right in time. Let's see what it does after the halt. Look at this. And this is what's so tough. Some people say, like, how are you going to trade it out of the halt? I don't like trading it out of the halt. It could keep going to the 5s, but remember, just a few minutes ago from trading, this was in the 3s. So shorts are licking their chops right now, and they're shorting this, and maybe it comes down more. I don't know what to do. There's a whole lot of the time where I don't know what to do. This is one of those. I can't go back in time and watch this stock instead of making the video. If I was long, I would be selling right now because I don't like this red candle. Although I might be, underestimating it. If it doesn't come down to the 470s, 460s, this could still pop back to the 5s. And here we are. Literally, I can't even finish a freaking sentence. Like, this is how fast these things move. Let's see how high it goes. I'm watching the level 2 in here. 534, 538, 541. So all those shorts who thought that this was going to be a first red candle, they just got squeezed. So this is what makes shorting so tough. You hear this ambulance outside? That's probably a short seller having a heart attack right now. I'm sorry to say. I don't know what to do. I certainly wouldn't chase it. And if I had been long, let's say from the high threes or the low fours, I would have sold into that first seemingly red candle. That's how safe I play it, okay? You can trade these things like a damn coward and still make a lot of money. You don't have to go for home runs. You don't have to trade too aggressively. I certainly wouldn't be chasing it up here, okay? So there's times where I don't know what's going to happen. There's also times like this where like, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's purely way too expensive for me right now. So I do nothing. When it's too expensive, you do nothing. At least that's my take. When it's confusing, you do nothing. If you're early, that's when you try to push it. Had I been around and not started this video lesson right when this thing was breaking out, I like this breakout. Some people say, like, when do you buy it? I mean, it was already, up from 230 up to 3. So it's already a percent gainer here, but you can see the volume starting to come in and it really starts to extend in here. But even if I had bought this thing at 3, I would have been out by 350. That's how cowardly I trade. And now look at this. So now it's coming down. That little green candle turned out to be a fake out. And now you say, well, when is the dip buy? I don't know. Maybe it bounces at the VWAP. Let's see. The VWAP is right here at like 430-ish. So theoretically, it should bounce at 430, 440-ish. But it's so overextended, I can't really, dip buy any overextended play aggressively because it might break through 430 and then come back down to the threes. But so far, this little bounce here, it got down to 440. And then look at the same minute, 440 to 480. It's up 10% in like 30 seconds. That's why it's so funny when some people say, oh, Tim, like, don't trade, just invest in the S&P 500, make 10% per year. I mean, you can make 10% in 30 seconds in this game. Obviously, you can lose 10% too if you're not careful. But like, it's stupid, the upside potential with a small account if you're meticulous. Look at this, back to the fives. So that VWAP hold was very nice. 450 to 520. Had I bought that dip, I would be selling here. 520, 530, 540, I'd be out. I'd make nearly $1 a share. But I wasn't sure the VWAP would hold. So, it's good to watch these plays. It's good to talk it out. Hopefully, videos like this help you. You tell me. Leave a comment below. Is this video helping you? Because we saw CYN, giant supernova. We saw LCFY. This is like what happens when a VWAP fails. Now we see SVRE. You got that little squeeze. I missed GCTK. This was too quick too this morning. Let me get rid of some of these things. This was, 6:20 a.m. and the stock went from 6 to 10. 6:20, 6 a.m. to 6:43. So 17 minutes. And, you make 75%. And again, you don't have to be first. It's impossible to try to be first. You just see these things start rising, and especially pre-market. So today's Friday. I kind of screwed up today with my schedule, but, when you have 24 students leaving and you're trying to organize everything, I'm just not in an ideal situation to trade. But Monday, I'll have less students here and I'll be ready. So I'll be ready to wake up early Monday pre-market. Fortunately, I'm in Europe, so I can be up at 4 a.m. Eastern, and we'll see what comes up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. Eastern, and we'll see if we have another of these. But so far, CYN was the big supernova on Thursday. Then we had GCTK earlier today, then LCFY earlier today, and SVRE now today. Let's see what INMB. INMB crossed over the VWAP. Let's see. Is there another one? No, these are the main. So these are the main four, by the way. The main four. Oh, WFF. Sometimes it's just a funny ticker too. But these are the main tickers. I'm just watching the biggest percent gainers because the biggest percent gainers, that's where the most shorts go. So let's see what WFF does. Look at this. Another one. 6 to 10. Anyways, hopefully this video helps you understand. Try to be there early. Get in the chat room. Watch my Supernova guide. Tune into the webinars. Just try to ride these things the best that you can. Congrats to so many students. Jeff W. and so many more. I'm sorry. I got to get going. Leave a comment. Click some links below. Let's celebrate. It's Supernova season, baby.